Sadie Tanner Mossell Alexander, January 2, 1898 to November 1, 1989, was a pioneering black professional and civil rights activist of the early to mid-20th century. In 1921, Mossell Alexander was the first African American to receive a Ph.D. in economics in the United States. In 1927, she was first woman to receive a law degree from the University of Pennsylvania Law School and went on to become the first black woman to practice law in the state. She was also the first national president of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, serving from 1919 to 1923. Mossell Alexander and her husband were active in civil rights, both in Philadelphia and nationally. In 1946 she was appointed to the President's Committee on Civil Rights established by Harry Truman. In 1952 she was appointed to the city's Commission on Human Relations, serving through 1968. She was a founding member of the National Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under Law, 1963. She served on the board of the National Urban League for 25 years. U.S. President Jimmy Carter named her in 1979 to chair the decennial White House Conference on Aging, an appointment later withdrawn by Richard Schweiker, President Ronald Reagan's Secretary of Health and Human Services. Sadie Tanner Mossell was born on January 2, 1898, in Philadelphia to Aaron Albert Mossell II and Mary Louisa Tanner, born 1867. Mossell attended high school in Washington, D.C. at the M Street School, now known as Dunbar High School, graduating in 1915. Mossell returned to Philadelphia to study at the School of Education at the University of Pennsylvania, graduating in 1918. There, she faced numerous hardships, due to her race and gender, such as poor advising, false accusations of plagiarism, and other students stealing her intellectual property. She pursued graduate work in economics, also at Penn, earning her master's in 1919. Awarded the Francis Sargent Pepper Fellowship, she was able to continue her studies and in 1921 became the first African American woman in the United States to earn a Ph.D. from an American university. Finding it difficult to get professorship work in Philadelphia as an African American even with her doctorate, Mossell decided to take an actuarial job with the black-owned North Carolina Mutual Life Insurance Company in Durham, North Carolina, and worked there for 2 years. In 1919, Sadie Tanner Mossell was elected the first national president of Delta Sigma Theta. Mossell Alexander also served as the legal advisor to Delta Sigma Theta sorority for 35 years. She was in contact with the Alpha chapter of Delta Sigma Theta since 1915 when she arrived at the University of Pennsylvania. However, she needed 5 students to charter a chapter of the sorority, which was not possible until 1918. In March 1918, the Gamma chapter of Delta Sigma Theta was established with Mossell as its first president. At the request of the Alpha chapter, the 4 existing chapters of Delta Sigma Theta were called to convene at Howard University in December 1919. The sorority planned to host their meetings in the women's dormitory on campus until Mossell's uncle Louis Baxter Moore offered his office as a meeting place. At this convention, the Grand Chapter of the sorority was established, taking the sorority from a loose federation of chapters to a national body. Under Mossell's leadership, the sorority expanded to new locales in the West, the South, and further into the Midwest and Northeast. She also initiated Delta's first national program, May Week. In 1923, Mossell married Raymond Pace Alexander shortly after he was admitted to the bar, then returned with him to Philadelphia. Mossell received job offers from several black colleges and universities, but none of them was located in Philadelphia, and she had no desire to leave her new family. So she stayed home for a year, did volunteer work, and eventually entered law school. She was the first African American woman admitted to the University of Pennsylvania Law School. While a law student, the dean attempted to deny her participation on the law review, but her fellow students, including Philip Werner Amram, who was then editor-in-chief, insisted that she be allowed this honor, which she had earned. In 1927, she was Penn's first African American woman graduate, and the first to be admitted to the Pennsylvania bar.